Nowadays, it's getting tougher and tougher to find cars like this. Small, compact sedans or hatchbacks with great handling abilities, with fun-to-drive nature, and which are affordable to own and maintain. In today's video, I'm driving the 2025 Mazda 3 Turbo, but this applies to all sedans and hatchbacks out there. I know this car is not the cheapest, but let's not forget that Mazda 3 comes in cheaper trims as well. And this Mazda 3 Turbo is the fully loaded version. You can get this car still with a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine that produces almost 200 horsepower. And if you want, you can get this car with a manual transmission as well. And let's be honest, getting a naturally aspirated engine in any car these days is a rare thing. And as a car enthusiast and a driving enthusiast, this is disappointing. Even a brand like Mazda that has the MX-5 Miata and this Mazda 3, it's still getting rid of the sedans in their lineup. For example, the bigger sedan, the Mazda 6, was axed from the lineup a couple years ago. And if you look at the brands like Ford, they actually axed all of their sedan and hatchbacks from their lineup except for the Mustang, which proves the fact that we are seeing an SUV dominance since around 2015 in the US and Canada. Back in 2015 was the first year when there were more sales of SUVs than sedans, hatchbacks, or wagons. So I wanted to make a video about the sad thing that we are losing cars like this. And I wanted to discuss some of the reasons why I think we should be getting more hatchbacks, wagons, and sedans in North America. And the first reason, as a driving enthusiast for me, is a fun to drive factor. Just by design, sedans, hatchbacks, and wagons are closer to the ground. So it is easier for engineers to develop cars that are better at handling. You will inevitably have less body roll when you are in the middle of the corner if you are in a sedan, hatchback, or wagon. I think it is more engaging and sporty to actually sit lower to the ground. And if you're driving an SUV, you always have this high seating position, which is not ideal for any spirited driving and makes driving overall less fun. And don't get me wrong, Porsche proved to us with their Macan and Cayenne that you can actually build SUVs that are fun to drive. The Mazda CX-5 and CX-50 are somewhat fun to drive. But still, even though they have the same engine as this Mazda 3 Turbo, the Mazda 3 Turbo is miles more fun to drive than these two options. The fun to drive feeling also comes with the lower weight. Sedans, hatchbacks, and wagons have significantly less weight. And even this loaded Mazda 3 with the all-wheel drive system and a bigger turbo engine still weighs under 3,500 pounds. And even if we compare it with the Mazda's other SUVs options as the CX-5 or CX-50, it is still much lighter. And overall, the small factor plays a big role in making the car fun to drive. And this Mazda 3 is the proof. This car is so fast. I just like the fact that the Mazda 3 comes with a turbo engine and you can get 5.4 seconds from 0 to 60 miles per hour. It is actually awesome. There's so much mechanical grip in the corner, and most of it just comes from physics. It's just easier to make a car handle like this if it's a sedan or hatchback. The second reason is sedans, hatchback, and wagons practicality. When people say that they need an SUV to carry more people, to carry more stuff with them, I've been living with sedans for years. And honestly, I rarely find myself in a situation where I need more space for my cargo or to carry more people. And I fit a couple of tents and everything you need for a camping trip for 2 days in my sedan, the 2012 Volkswagen Jetta. And it was fine. And I also had 4 people in the car with all the cargo that we had. You can buy this Mazda 3 as a hatchback. And a hatchback is going to have even more space to carry around. Couple of downshifts. Let's start right here. This car is so fun to drive, guys, honestly. And since my recent trip to Europe, I've realized that we have too many SUVs on the road in North America. Because in Europe, people have families too. They need to carry people around They need to carry their stuff, and most European people can do that just with hatchbacks and station wagons. And this point transitions perfectly into the next reason I think we need more sedans, hatchbacks, and station wagons in North America, which is affordability. In Europe, you get so many options for sedans, hatchbacks, and station wagons. For example, you can get a mid-size sedan, Skoda Octavia, and you can make it a station wagon. And honestly, you can fit so much stuff in this Skoda Octavia station wagon. Many people in Europe also consider a Golf a car that can do everything. The perfect daily driver with enough space for passengers and cargo. Also, due to the fact that sedans, hatchbacks, and station wagons are lower to the ground, they have a lower drag coefficient. And just scientifically, they get better fuel economy. Even if we take the CX-30 as a comparison to this Mazda 3, the CX-30 is basically the same car as this one, but it's lifted for higher seating position and better ground clearance. But it comes to a cost for your fuel. Let's do a quick acceleration right here. Yeah, this car is properly quick. People are always complaining in North America that cars are very expensive. The average price for a new car is $47,000. And we're still not appreciating the fact that smaller cars like Mazda 3, like Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, Kia K4, they are all making cars affordable. They are cheaper to produce due to their smaller size and less components to build with. And smaller cars are just simpler by design, which means that they will be less expensive to maintain in the long run. And if you need a smaller parking space, you can fit the car anywhere. And some people will argue with me saying that smaller cars are more dangerous because they have less weight, which is somewhat true, but actually newer cars, for example, this Mazda 3 is a very safe vehicle. But the thing about the SUV dominance in our car space is that it's becoming an arms race. And people think that you should buy a bigger, heavier car to be safe on the road. And what ends up happening is that all of us buy bigger, heavier vehicles, which makes our roads and our accidents more dangerous. And since these cars are more affordable, are easy to maintain, you just have less stress owning them. Honestly, as a car enthusiast, I just want people to enjoy their vehicles, enjoy their driving, and the easiest way to do it is to own cars like this. And again, I know I'm driving in a Mazda 3 Turbo, which is a quite expensive car, but you can buy a lower version of this car and get 80 or 90% of the experience you get in here with the more economical engine, and if you want a more simpler manual transmission. And as a young person who is trying to be a part of this great car culture in Canada and the US, I think it's quite sad to acknowledge the fact that if we get less cars like this, it will be much harder to other young people to get into this hobby, to get into loving cars. Because with the dominance of SUVs, everything becomes more expensive, inevitably. For many, many years, cars like Mazda 3 or Honda Civic, I'll continue my point after this corner, the steering in this car is so good. Stay tuned for my full in-depth review of this car in a week or so. I'm filming this one as well. But let's get back into the video. As I was saying, cars like Honda Civic Si, which is pretty affordable, was one of the ways younger people could actually get into the hobby and enjoy car ownership with a lot less risk of losing their money and a lot less risk of their car breaking down on them. And I know some brands are still trying, like Toyota, for example. Right now they're killing it. They have the GR86, they have the GR Corolla, GR Supra, so many great enthusiast options for people out there. And the GR86, for example, is very affordable. We got the Civic Si, which is pretty affordable. We got this Mazda 3, a great option, especially with the manual transmission. You can have lots of fun. But as we go into the future, I have a fear that we are kind of losing all of these cars. But I hope, if you're watching this video, you're one of these people who is agreeing with me, and you think that we need more sedans, hatchbacks, and station wagons for our options, and we should get less SUVs. Cars that are easy to own, easy to park, fun to drive, and actually affordable to buy. If you want to learn more about the 2025 Mazda 3 Turbo, I'm going to make a full in-depth review later on my channel, and I honestly hope you guys are going to love it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and let's discuss in the comments below if you think the same way as I do. But as always, stay safe out there, keep enjoying the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.